Welcome everyone to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Thank you for being here. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 8, Text 48. And just to remind us of what we just recited in glorification of Bhagavatam, Narayanam Namaskritya, Bhagavatam 124 translates as, before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Srinvatam Svakata Krishna, Canto 1, 2:17. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma supersoul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashtrapayeshva 1:2:18. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. All that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. We all want to engage in transcendental loving service, so it's wonderful to hear that loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Not just service, but loving service. Satam Prasangan, 3:25-25 Bhagavatam. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed, and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. So let's dive into the Srimad Bhagavatam together. Thank you, Tarika Prabhu, for posting the verse. Canto 7, The Science of God, Chapter 8, Lord Nrsimhadev slays the king of the demons. Text 48. Shri Manava Uchuhu. Respond on your own ends behind your muted mics. Manavo Vayam Tavanide Shakarino. Diti Jaina Deva Paribhuta Setavaha. Bhavata Kala Sa Upasa Hrita Prabho. Karavamate Kim Anushadhi Kinkaran. Shri Manava Uchuhu. Manavo Vayam Tavanide Shakarino. Diti Jaina Deva Paribhuta Setavaha. Bhavata Kalasa Upasamhita Prabho. Karavamate Kim Anushadhi Kinkaran. Let's try a different meter for the last one. Shri Manava Uchuhu. Manavo Vayam Tavanide Shakarino. Diti Jaina Deva Paribhuta Setavaha. Bhavata Kalasa Upasamhrita Prabho. Karavamate Kim Anushadhi Kinkaran. Everyone is welcome. Each person, whoever would like, is welcome to recite, unmute.
Shri Manava Uchuhu Manavo Vayam Tavanade Shakarino Diti Jena Deva Pradibhuta Setavaha Bhavata Kalasa Upasamhrita Prabho Karavamate Kim Manushari Kinkaran.
Shri. Go ahead, David Kiputi.
Shri Manava Uchu Manavayam Tavanisha Karino Nitena Deva Parbhuta Setavaha Bhavata Kalasa Upasamhita Prabho Karavam Tekim Anusari Kinkaran.
Shri Manava Uchu Manavayam Tavanite Shakarino Titi Jena Deva Paribhuta Setavaha Bhavatakalaha Sa Upa Samhrita Prabho Karavamate Kim Anushati Kinkaran.
Sri Manava Uvacha. Sri Manava Ucha. Manavo. Manavo Vayam Tavanidesha Karino. Dite Jena Deva Paribhuta Setavaha. Bhavata Kalasa Upasamhrita Prabho. Karavamate Kim Anushadi Kinkaran.
Shri Manava Uchu Manavo Vayamta Vanide Shakarino Diti Jena Deva Paribhuta Setavaha Bhavata Kalahasa Upasamrita Bravo Karavamate Kim Anushadi Kinkaran.
Thank you, dear devotees. Anyone else? Okay, synonyms. I'm utilizing your posting to recite from Tarika Prabhu, so once you put the synonyms in, I'll go. Able. Synonym, let's pay close attention. Shri Manava Uchuhu. So normally we see Uvacha, but this is multiple people speaking, so it's Uchuhu. All the Manus offered their respectful obeisances by saying, Manavaha, the leaders of the universal affairs, especially in connection with giving knowledge to humanity about how to live lawfully under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Excuse me one moment. Again, feel free to respond on your end. Vayam, we, Tava, of your lordship, Nidesha Karinaha, the carrier of the orders, Diti Jaina, by Hiranyakashipu, the son of Diti. Deva, O Lord, Paribhuta, disregarded, Setavaha, whose laws of morality concerning the Varnashram system in human society. Bhavata, by your lordship. Kalaha, the most envious rascal. Saha, he. Upasam Hrita, killed. Upasam Hritaha, killed. Prabho, O Lord. Karavama, shall we do? Te, your. Kim, what? Anushadhi, please direct. Kinkaran, your eternal servants. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All the Manus offered their prayers as follows. as your order carriers, O Lord, we the Manus are the lawgivers for human society. But because of the temporary supremacy of this great demon, Hiranyakashipu, our laws for maintaining Varnashram Dharma were destroyed. O Lord, now that you have killed this great demon, we are in our normal condition. Kindly order us, your eternal servants, what to do now. Purport. In many places in Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord Krishna refers to the Varnashram Dharma of 4 Varnas and 4 ashramas. He teaches people about this Varnashram Dharma so that all of human society can live peacefully by observing the principles for the 4 social divisions and 4 spiritual divisions, Varna and Ashrama, and thus make advancement in spiritual knowledge. The Manus compiled the Manu Samhita. The word Samhita means Vedic knowledge, and Manu indicates that this knowledge is given by Manu. The Manus are sometimes incarnations of the Supreme Lord, and sometimes empowered living entities. Formerly, many long years ago, Lord Krishna instructed the sun god. The Manus are generally sons of the sun god. Therefore, while speaking to Arjuna about the importance of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Imam bivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha. This instruction was given to Vivasvan, the sun god, who in turn instructed his son Manu. Manu gave the law known as Manu Samhita, which is full of directions based on Varna and Ashrama, concerning how to live as a human being. These are very scientific ways of life, but under the rule of demons like Hiranyakashipu, human society breaks all these systems of law and order and gradually becomes lower and lower. Thus, there is no peace in the world. The conclusion is that if we want real peace and order in a human society, we must follow the principles laid down by the Manu Samhita and confirmed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All right. One moment. So, back to the translation. And actually, we're going to say some of the Sanskrit as well, as we see some words that we can hang on to and remember. Prabhu, O Lord, just like we call each other Prabhu, Master. Deva, also O Lord, like the Devas, the demigods. Kim is what? So you can see like when Dhritarashtra said, Kim akorvata Sanjaya, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do when they assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight? Kim, what? And Vayam, we. So we can try to remember a few of these words. And translation, all the Manus offered their prayers as follows. As your order carriers, O Lord, we the Manus are the lawgivers for human society. But because of the temporary supremacy of this great demon, Hiranyakashipu, our laws for maintaining Varnashram Dharma were destroyed. O Lord, now that you have killed this great demon, we are in our normal condition. Kindly order us, your eternal servants, what to do now. All right, please everybody join me in chanting the Mangalacharanam. I'm actually going to put a link in the chat that has the proper diacritics and also the translation so we can meditate on what we're saying as we chant it. So if you want to click that and join me, please do. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam. And if you didn't see, sorry, the translations are on page 2, as well as the Sanskrit. Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu. Third page. Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Fourth page. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. And third page. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And finally, last page. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Join me in reciting 2 more times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right, dear devotees, we are so blessed to be here this morning, and that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam, Sangopangastra Parshadam, Yagyai Sankirtana Prayer, Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's bringing this chanting of the holy names, congregational chanting of Krishna's names, and his weapon in this age is his beauty, as the purport says to Bhagavatam 11.5.32. I would just like to welcome everyone who is here. It's nice to have new members of our community here, Janeshwari Prabhu and Kaliyadamana Prabhu, and all of our regulars. We're so glad to see you. And we are at an interesting place in Bhagavatam where Lord Nrsingadev has slayed the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, and now so many different entities are offering their prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, all leading up to eventually Prahlad Maharaj offering his prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. So yesterday and the days before, we heard about the Vidyadharas and various, like the Siddhas and various entities offering their prayers. Today, the Manus are offering their prayers, the progenitors of mankind. And there are a few interesting points in this verse. Really notice whenever the Manus said, we are, how do they word it? They said, as your order carriers, O Lord. So they're identifying themselves as the order carriers of the Lord. And I was just thinking about how Prabhupada says that Krishna is not our order supplier. So it's like we are filling out his orders. So I like how they're saying that. And yes, they are the lawgivers of society. They have given us the Manu Samhita. So Prabhupada says in the purport that Samhita means Vedic knowledge. And then Manu Samhita is indicating that the knowledge is given by Manu, just like we have Brahma Samhita, where we also probably are used to hearing it like the Brahma Samhita. That's the pronunciation. I just pronounced it a little differently. And so basically, that's the Samhita given by Brahma. So the Manus are giving us the Varnashram Dharma, establishing that principles, and so is Lord Krishna in the Gita, as Srila Prabhupada says in the purport. Krishna says he's given this science to Vivasvan, the sun god, who in turn instructed his son Manu. And we see that, of course, we're often, human society is very forgetful and we're forgetting these principles. So Krishna comes and he reminds us, he speaks the Gita, as we have trouble with remembering things in this age. That's why it's our main goal is, to always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And we're lucky that, and we're blessed that Krishna, he's the giver of remembrance and forgetfulness. One of our favorite verses, Bhagavad Gita 15:15. How does that one start? Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivisto mata smritir, remembrance. Mata smritir jnanam, knowledge. Apohanam, forgetfulness. Mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Vedaischa sarver hameva vedyo. Vedanta krid veda videva chaham. Krishna says that he's seated in everyone's heart, and from him come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Yes. Thank you for confirming, Devaki Priti. My sister and I like to recite this verse. It's so wonderful because anytime you're doing something in life and you remember something, you can just think about Krishna. You're like, oh, thank you, Krishna, you gave me remembrance. So there's so many ways to remember Krishna. And that's what actually I was thinking about when I was thinking about remembering Krishna. Bhakti Tirtha Swami has a nice passage in Spiritual Warrior series, Spiritual Warrior number 5, Making the Mind Your Best Friend. And he talks about the part of the Gita where Krishna, in chapter 10 and chapter 7, where he's saying all these things like, I am the light of the sun and the moon, and, everything rests upon me like pearls are strung on a thread. I am the taste of water. And all these little descriptions can help us remember Krishna. If we are cognizant of them, we can try to remember him, like Bhagavad Gita, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati. Whoever sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. I remember I heard Gauravani sing that in a beautiful way once at the temple, Radha Govinda Mandir in New York. He did a call and response way while he was in the middle of the kirtan, and he was like, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. Now feel free to respond on your end. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. So this pashyati means sees. I'll actually put that verse in the chat so it's easy to follow along as we sing it together. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. Sarvam cha mahi pashyati. Tasyaham na pranashyami. Sachamena pranashyati. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. Sarvam cha mahi pashyati. Tasyaham na pranashyami. Sachamena pranashyati. So Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he goes through a description of mindfulness, and he defines mindfulness in that chapter of his as, he says, mindfulness again means experiencing God everywhere, seeing everything as a manifestation of him, and seeing everything in him. And he goes through a beautiful, beautiful meditation. He's quoting from his beggar meditation, and he has a whole meditation on how he's being mindful with his walking, with his seeing, with his eating, just to all bring his consciousness to Krishna. It's called in the Spiritual Warrior 5, this section is called Well Done, My Darling, Well Done. And yes, it's from his Beggar 2 book. And yeah, that section is called Well Done, My Darling, Well Done. And he says, in order to help us take this mindfulness much more to heart, he shares a certain meditation there. And he says, we want to connect more with the transcendental so that the increasing degradation and duality in the material societies will not disturb us to the same extent. Mindfulness is a serious weapon that we want to share with you for healthy spiritual survival and even for material stability. So he talks, say a few excerpts. Like he says, today when I went out, I practiced mindful walking. I walked for hours, I passed many people and saw many things. I sometimes had to avoid the danger of cars, dogs, and obstacles on the road. Nevertheless, I felt that the sun was shining to infuse my body with dynamic energy, and that the birds were chirping just to cheer me on and encourage me toward my destination. Later on, when I returned to the temple, I looked at your picture and saw you smile at me and say, well done, my darling, well done. Today I practiced mindful breathing. As I inhaled, I imagined drawing in love, serenity, knowledge, and bliss. As I exhaled, I imagined releasing lust, anger, fear, and sadness. When I entered the temple and I looked at your picture, I saw you smile at me and say, well done, my darling, well done. Today I practiced mindful talking. I was extremely careful not to say anything to offend anyone. I imagined that each word was showering another soul, either with flower petals or with bricks. Devotional words are like flowers that will enhance another's well-being and celebrate that person's existence. Harsh or whimsical words are like assaults on others, as if stoning them with bricks. With each person I encountered, I only discussed devotional topics. Therefore, I was feeling constantly enlivened as I reflected on all of the glorious beings in my life. Later, when I returned to the temple, you smiled and again repeated, well done, my darling, well done. Today, I practiced mindful hearing. I reflected on how all conversation is a call to participate in certain activities or to accept certain mindsets. I chose to participate exclusively in devotional activities, and I only wanted to reflect on devotional topics. Thus, whenever there were discussions that did not invite me to participate in devotional activity or reflection, I would simply excuse myself from the environment. I even went out of my way to seek the association of those who invited me to glorify the gurus, sadhus, and the divine couple, and I consciously avoided the association of those who tried to entice me away from their love and shelter. When I returned to the temple, I noticed your picture smiling as you said, well done, my darling, well done. This isn't one is nice if you can practice this when we're eating prasadam. We can always remember Krishna at least 3 times a day because we're always eating. We have to eat to live, and try not to live to eat. So here he says, today at the breakfast table, I practiced mindful eating. First, I thought of all my wonderful disciples who so conscientiously prepare foodstuffs for the pleasure of the Lord and myself. They always punctually prepare these meals in a clean devotional mood and atmosphere. After carefully considering their service, I reflected on how the meal had been lovingly offered in prayer to the Supreme Lord, and how later on the Lord's remnants were made available for others. As I chewed each morsel, I thought of how each preparation was now spiritually surcharged, and that by taking such foodstuff, my body was being fueled with spiritual nourishment. Then I thought of how each grain, each mouthful was giving me the power to improve the quality and quantity of my meditation and service. After honoring this spiritual feast, I went into the temple, and there you were. Once again, your lips were curled in a smile, and you said to me, well done, my darling, well done. I was looking at my notes in this book too. I was looking at my book to read this to you all, and I see I wrote WDMD. I guess I was trying to put an acronym to remember. Well done, my darling, well done. Acronyms are a useful way to remember things. Well, anyway, he also practiced mindful seeing, and it's beautiful, very beautiful meditation. Um, so ultimately, the Vedic principles are always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Oh, he did mindful reading. Anyway, it's so beautiful. But I heard Bir Krishna Maharaj, he was explaining that the Manu Samhita, obviously it has a lot to it, and he noted that Srila Prabhupada in the purport says, he uses the word principles. He used it twice, but we're particularly talking about the second time he used it. It's the last sentence. He says, the conclusion is that if we want real peace and order in the human society, we must follow the principles laid down by the Manu Samhita and confirmed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So he noticed that it was saying we must follow, Prabhupada said, he said, we must follow the principles laid down by the Manu Samhita. He did not say the rules, and he did not, that's the word he used was principles. So Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj was highlighting that point that Srila Prabhupada could have said rules, but he said principles, and we're focusing on the principles, not the details. So he was explaining how the Manu Samhita, it talks about a lot of different things. Like, for example, it says like, he was saying how it says like you shouldn't eat carrots and root vegetables, and it was so funny because he was like, yeah, I like carrots. Anyway, but like we're following the principles. We might not be following all the different details it says. Like Prabhupada was encouraging, like one of the principles, of course, is like cow protection. But the main principle, I was listening to Dravida Prabhu speak yesterday. It's beautiful. It's on ISKCON Desire Tree, and I wanted to screen share some of it to share with you guys, but I don't have the ability to screen share, I believe. Oh, I do have the ability now. Okay. So I might do that for you guys, but yeah, the main principle is like that, Smartavya, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So he's encouraging us all to learn verses because that is such an easy way to remember Krishna, just like Gajendra, the elephant, in Canto 8, he remembered Krishna when he remembered a verse he had learned in his past life whenever his leg was in the mouth of the crocodile and he was in distress and he was able to recite that verse to Krishna. So Prabhupada was encouraging us in those purports, like, okay, learn verses and, you'll take them on to your next lives. Yeah. So Dhruva Prabhu, he was singing this beautiful song. Of course, like songs and meters. Yeah, I'm gonna show you. Thank you. Those songs and meters, they help the mind remember. So yeah, I'm going to be screen sharing that. Oh, sorry. Now there's like when I was okay, hold on a second. So get a little song. You guys are gonna have to tell me if you can hear this. So let me get it to the beginning for you guys. So the class is on audio.iscon Desire Tree, and it was inspired by the Madhur Ashtakam, the song. That's like wherever, it talks about everything about Krishna is sweet. Madhuram Madhurebhyo pi mangalebhyo mimanga. So and later on it says everything is sweet about the Emperor of Sweetness. But yeah, this is Remembrance of Krishna through sloka memorization is the class. Put that link in there. So, but he sings a little song, so I want to share it. And while I'm getting it to the right place, I'm going to share this other song with you devotees. It's always so nice to just find ways to remember Krishna. So I wanted to share this wonderful song we heard from at Sadhu Sangha this in 2025. Kalakanta Prabhu, he sang this song. He likes to write English lyrics to what's it called? To along with like the Sanskrit bhajans, and then they rhyme so you can like listen to them. So so you can recite them and remember what their meaning of the bhajans are. So he recited the one for Kaber Bhajan, Kodanitai, about Lord Nitai's marketplace. So here's some of the lyrics. I sing of ecstatic news, blissful and fantastic news. You can recite on your end. Well, actually, you probably don't have it memorized, so you can't. But I sing of ecstatic news, blissful and fantastic news. Nitai's Kirtan marketplaces in Surabi Kunj. Nitai's Kirtan marketplaces in Surabi Kunj. There are smiles on every face in that holy marketplace. There are smiles on every face in that holy marketplace. Krishna's holy names are sold for just the price of faith. Krishna's holy names are sold for just the price of faith. Okay, I think I got to the area where I'm gonna play his sing, but I'll just finish this. All the devotees are attracted to the market's interaction. All the devotees are attracted to the market's interaction. Nitai qualifies each buyer, then conducts transactions. Nitai qualifies each buyer, then conducts transactions. Brother, if you want to buy, let us go now, you and I. Brother, if you want to buy, let us go now, you and I. Let us go and meet with the illustrious Nitai. Let us go and meet with the illustrious Nitai. The last line I transcribed was, you will by the name of Krishna, I will gather my commission. You will by the name of Krishna, I will gather my commission. Then we both shall relish our auspicious acquisitions. Then we both shall relish our auspicious acquisitions. And then now we're going to screen share Dravida Prabhu. Okay, you guys will have to let me know if you can hear this.
No, I'll take one.
Do you hear that? I want to make sure you hear it before I play the main. Okay.
That isn't get a score.
Repeat on your end, okay?
Yes.
It'll get clearer. Hold on.
And then after. We have a picture, and we go on to the next page. And the form is, if he gives you describe a question, then we have to child, gradually the Satyaras, and finally a little.
Wait for it, wait for it.
Okay, then you go through all of the process and meditation. But it's illustrating how.
Oh, I'm not able to make the volume higher. Okay, well, it's at
It's
1:30:50 on the recording, that link, but let me know once he starts actually saying the lyrics, it's easier to understand them, so see you can hear him there.
Okay, then we're ready. We have a call on too. Inspect the animal. Good. All right, I remember, but they're already on out. Okay, we made it deep between the two blankets. Between the two, that's it. Your is sweet and so sweet. Oh, it's sweet and fantastic. Yours alone is able sweet. Yours alone is able sweet. Your people, oh, too sweet. And we all acting on it. Oh, sweet, sweet.
You're sweet, you're sweet, I put the lyrics in the chat, and then he sings Hare Krishna in between. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It sings once more. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Now I'll just let you hear one more verse up from it, from the song. Your lips are sweet, your smile is sweet. Your lotus eyes and face are sweet. Your heart is sweet, your names are sweet. Oh, King of sweet, you're sweet and sweet. Anyway, so your lips are sweet, your smile is sweet, your heart is sweet, your names are sweet. Oh, King of sweet, you're sweet complete. Anyway, I missed one of the lines to post for you guys, but I hope you liked it. Stop sharing. Oh yeah, stop sharing. Okay. We also notice in this verse specifically, that was so sweet. Ha ha ha. Very sweet indeed. Yes, I see the quotes. I mean the cover. What is it called? Quotes in the comments in the chat. That's the word. But I was listening to Bhakti Ramaraj talking about this verse, and like we all see that this is an example of a prayer that someone's saying to Krishna. So the prayer, prayer is one of the 9 processes of devotional service, Vandanam. And we also understand that gratitude is one of the forms of personal prayer. We can hear Sartarup Das Goswami Maharaj speak about it in his book on prayer. So the importance of gratitude, Bhakti Ramaraj was talking about that in specifically in relation to this verse because he was saying the demigods are saying various demigods are talking and the Manus here are saying, well, here, let me say the exact words they say. Pull up the purport. Now that you've killed this great demon, we are in our normal condition. And various of the demigods are kind of saying, okay, yeah, he was causing issues, and now that you fix everything, okay, we're happy, like our problem is, dealt with. And like he was talking about, like, yeah, we like to have Bhakti Ramaraj was saying, yeah, when we have a problem, it's like we're like happy relieved when it's like taken off our shoulders or whatever. So Krishna was helping them all, Lord Nrsingadev, as Lord Nrsingadev. Just like he was saying, yeah, we have like, our driving tests, right? And like we have the exam and we're like, oh gosh, it's so stressful. Like, like forgetting, like you probably like that what you learned, but then you like forget it whenever you're taking the exam. But like when the problem's over, you're like, okay, that's finished. So you're just talking about the importance of gratitude for material and spiritual life and how if when we have gratitude, then we'll be given more. And um gratitude will help us like value the mercy that we're given. I was talking to my friend about this just the other day, trying to relate what Bhakti Ramar said. It was a class he had on YouTube on this verse, and he was saying that, but the greed will prevent us from having that gratitude, because with the greed we won't value what we're getting and we'll be unsatisfied. So because we're unsatisfied, so just that importance of gratitude, I think, is one thing I'm taking away because I was just thinking like, okay, yeah, like even like I probably do value it, like just because like because he was basically saying like, oh, well, when you're greedy, then you're not valuing it. And I was like, I probably just value it to a certain degree though. But I was really trying to think about what he was saying that like, yeah, like if you're greedy and you got something and you're still not satisfied, like how much are you valuing? You're just kind of like, okay, well, I wanted this though. Like you got a gift and you're like, that's nice, but so I mean, like you're kind of like focused on what you don't have. Um, and we also understand that like we have the need for a spiritual master. The Manus are giving the laws, Krishna is giving the teachings. Arjuna is understanding these teachings from Krishna. We all need a spiritual master to understand what we're supposed to do. And we have to take the medicine as described. Bhakti Maharaj was also talking about that because you always hear this, like, someone's learning chemistry. This is an example we often use, and it's not like they're like, well, I'm just gonna learn chemistry on my own. I don't need to consult a teacher, and I don't, yeah, I can just figure it out myself. And I'm just gonna read the books, but we read the books, but we need book Bhagavatam. We also need the real the Bhagavat person Bhagavat and the book Bhagavat. We need the instructions from other people to tell us how to take the medicine, and we're gonna get the effects of the medicine if we take it as it's prescribed on the bottle, not just willy-dilly like I got yeah. So if you take the medicine as its instruction as in the bottle, then you'll get the effect, or you will maintain that disease. Like so, it's like sometimes the medicine, okay, you take it with food or you take it at this time of the day, et cetera, et cetera. Actually, when I was saying that just now, I was thinking about how, yeah, we chant Hare Krishna, but part of that medicine is hopefully to chant without offenses. That would help us take the medicine in a better way. But we're all, Krishna. Oh, there was also this other beautiful statement quote from Radhanath Swami that I shared with Devaki that um, Krishna, he was saying bhakti means our attitude. So we may be chanting Hare Krishna and we're having trouble, our mind going offline where we're trying to concentrate, but Krishna, he's not like pleased like because you're concentrating, he's pleased at like your endeavor, like your attitude, that, okay, I'm gonna try to concentrate for you. It's not like, oh, because you concentrated, I'm pleased now. It's like it's about that attitude, like, okay, I'm gonna try my best and I'm gonna try to focus on you, Krishna. And he said that you can think you're not making advancement, um, my mind's offline while I'm chanting all this stuff, but you actually don't know. Um, that it's really the bhakti, he said it means our attitude. So, um, like I saw this, um, what was it? It was this quote. It was from Satyananda Maharaj, and he basically said Krishna was saying, "I only eat love." So he's like, "Yeah, it's kind of like I don't eat food. I only eat love." So like, I make sure, when we offer food, like Bhagavad Gita 13:13 talks about eating food for personal sense enjoyment versus offering it to Krishna. When we offer it to Krishna, we're released from all kinds of sins, and there's no sin in the food. And also, it was interesting, Maharaj was talking about, Bhakti Maharaj was talking about like a good leader looks forward, is not a navel gazer looking down, and how, because we're, the Manis are leaders of the society, and we're seeing like, he said like, because when you see Prabhupada, he's looking forward, he's not looking down, and I thought about that multiple times, like how the Murtis of Prabhupada, like they're looking straight, and then when Prabhupada was walking, like in the pictures of him as walking, his like chin's kind of up, and he's like looking ahead, and he was saying like the leader, Bhakti Dhamaraj was saying like the leader, he knows what's like going on with the people he's leading. He's not, his head's down, not down. He can see like what's going on, and that's how he's taking care of the people. So example, like Parikshit Maharaj, he was a good ruler. He saw what was going on with the citizens. He saw Kali was coming in to the society, and wanted to kick Kali out, etc. And we also see one of the descendants of Swayambhuva Manu, Priyavrata, we see that also he was following uh the instructions of the Vedas. So yes, he was a renunciate, and Narada Muni was instructing him in that way. But then they wanted him to take the kingdom, and with some intervention from Brahma, also telling him that he took up the kingdom and he ruled just out of that duty, and then he also took up Grihastha ashram. So it's interesting because we heard also in regards to Swayambhuva Manu, um, our first Manu in this universe, it was Maitreya and Muni, and excuse me, it was Maitreya. Yeah, it was Vidura asking um Maitreya Rishi about Swayambhuva Manu's dynasty. And right, Vidura and Maitreya, they're both renunciates. So it was like, okay, how are these renunciates talking about like someone who's like a grihasta, but it's not just like mundane, like procreation that was not contrary to religious principles, that's Krishna. And Swayambhuva Manu's dynasty had great devotees appearing in it. So you're seeing that um, um, that discussion there. And also the example was given like elders, like you see elder, like not elders, but just like like as we get older, we're like, oh yeah, like tell me about your sons and your grandsons, and like they'll talk about, yeah, this is my son, I had this son and I had this grandson, so they're kind of like talking about the dynasty like that. And that's what we even get to do with our dear devotees who are still on this planet right now. We talk about the devotees from Bhagavatam, but we also talk about the devotees around us. And another example was that, yeah, devotional service is not related to the ashram. So basically, Priyavata, he could perform devotional service either as a renunciate, either as a grahastha. It's not like only in one ashram you can do it. And then in terms of like some of the varnas and ashramas, Krishna was talking about this he goes into it a little bit more in chapter 18 of the Gita, around text 40. And he actually talks a little bit about the qualities of the different varnas. And Prabhupada Priya in her book, The Living Gita, she just notes a little bit about it, like summarizing like verses 40 to 45. She says, Arjuna, the duties of Brahmas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras are designated according to the natures which they have acquired due to material modes. So here she starts talking about the qualities, okay, right here. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, and virtue, as well as knowledge, wisdom, and faith in God, are the natural work of the Brahmanas. Heroism, power, determination, and military expertise, as well as bravery, charity, and leadership, are the natural work of the Kshatriyas. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work of the Vaishyas, and the natural work of the Shudras is to assist the others. So yeah, you don't have to change your occupation, you just add Krishna. There's a beautiful book by it's the Congregational Ministry. Jayapataka Swami helped make this book, The Nectar of Congregational Preaching. And he has so many quotes by Srila Prabhupada that are just emphasizing, like, you don't have to change your position, you just add Krishna. Like make your home a temple, etc. Yeah. And we can actually use these verses, though, that we learn as a way to serve Krishna with our intelligence. And we can also reflect on and take away reflecting on our bhakti and how we're doing our practices, because I remember Mother Chitty Shakti in a seminar was talking about how reflection brings the mind into the mode of goodness. And some devotees at a class the other day were discussing how like the importance of journaling and kind of like going inside to notice, okay, where are you going to grow? Like, how am I making progress in my Krishna consciousness? It's bringing the mind to a conscious state so then you can get it to a Krishna conscious state. Yeah, there is this, I don't know if you guys know this devotee, Jai Chaitanya Das. He's from Cali, and he lived there for a while, and he's giving Krishna consciousness to the youth, and he was a brahmachari for a long time, and then he became he's like, now he's doing a lot of his music. He has so many beats he makes and songs, and he's into writing, and he has a lot of journals, and he has this video on YouTube called like The Power of Writing or something, and he talks about, yeah, he likes to say, put your mind on a busy piece of paper to make the paper busy and your mind clear. Put your busy mind onto a clear piece of paper to make your mind clear and the paper busy. And he just talks about journaling, how you can look back and see where you've grown and then, move forward in your Krishna consciousness. Like I've also heard Swami Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj talk about that. Like as you journal, you can kind of see like where you've grown there when you look back. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, Jai Chaitanya Das in the class. Yeah, I think that it's just like a little video. I believe it's called The Power of Writing. Yeah, he's kind of like a Krishna conscious rapper kind of thing. Yeah, I can find that, but also, yeah, if anybody wants to go to that class by Dravida Prabhu, he even helps devotees figure out how to memorize verses, and he like leads you during the seminar, like leads you into memorizing a verse. Like you memorize it with him because he had us memorize this one verse, Madaram, Madaram, Vapur, Asya, Vibho, Madaram, Madaram, Vadanam, Madaram, Madhugandhi, Gradu, Madhugandhi, Radu. Yeah, he was so good at it that I almost memorized it just in that sitting with him. But um, because he said like you can pick this one's pretty easy because it just says Madaram all like a bunch of times. Because it just means like, yeah, Krishna, it says Krishna's transcendental form is sweet, but more sweet is his face, and then it goes on because it's like Madaram, Madaram in the first line, and then it says refers to his form, Vibhor, um, Astya Vibho, and then Madaram, Madaram, Vadanam, Madaram. So that one has three Madarams, they're more sweet. Anyway, it's just very beautiful. Yeah, so oh, I wanted to share this one verse, Sri Ishopanishad 8, just as a respect to my shloka teacher. He was like, "Oh, I was in shloka class yesterday with Baba Prabha, and yes, Fridays at 3 p.m. Anyone's welcome." And he had me recite this one verse, and it was funny because he was like, "Yeah, Jana Vatsala is going to recite this verse in her class and explain it." And I was like, literally that morning, this was yesterday, and literally that morning I was thinking about this verse and I recited it to myself that morning. I was like, yeah, I want to talk about that in Bhagavatam class tomorrow. And then he said that and I was like, whoa. So I have to recite it in honor of him. So as we know, like Krishna's fulfilling all desires, and we know that prayers get answered, but we might not see the signs when they come. But there's also an interesting quote I just saw that when God wants to be merciful, he doesn't answer your prayers. But I was just wanting to practice in my own life. Maybe this can encourage any devotees, like noticing where like something I've prayed for Krishna has actually given me and I didn't notice. Like a long time later, I'm like, oh wait, oh my gosh, I had asked about that and you gave it. So let me be grateful and actually be thank you for doing that. So I kind of want to like be patient and see like, okay, Krishna is going to address whatever I'm working on, sometimes within a few weeks. So just you don't need to worry about like just this immediate, like he's dealing with everything. Just like you've seen in the past examples, when you reflect on those examples, like bring the mind into the mode of goodness. Oh yeah, he did help me with that. I was asking about him that like a long time ago. Like my mom told me once, I'm not saying I'm a good cook, so no one tried to ask me to cook anything. I just cook simple for my mom. But I remember when I was growing up, I would be like, I can't cook. And she was like, and then later on, she told me like, see, you're cooking now. You used to say you can't cook. Or like a simple example, I was like really into Madhya Shoda Devi's online here. Hari Chakra Prabhu's he's like bread master. He make these like when his family would make a feast, they would make these like bread rolls and they were so nice. Like it would be like like say you had the pan and you put a bunch of dough balls and they were touching each other. So then when they expand, they all like line each other and then you'd pull each one off when you're serving the devotees. And like they were so good. And I remember like thinking like in the past few years or I was like, yeah, I miss like having that bread. Like I need bread in my life, like those nice bread rolls. And then since then it's actually funny because now in the past couple years, like my dad he's been making sourdough bread that we got from one of our cousins, this sourdough starter. And like he's like constantly making naan bread. And I'm like, and I thought about it and I was like, whoa, Krishna, you brought bread in my life, like easy access to bread, and like I can make sandwiches when I need and all that stuff. Because my mom, she's gluten free, and I guess we got to add a practice of buying bread as much. So it's like I'm like, oh, it's such a simple need, but Krishna, like he's like noticing all these little things. So this verse that he fulfills everyone's desire since time immemorial, it's Ishopanishad mantra 8. It says the mantra says Saparya gach chukram, akayam avrinam, ashnaviram shuddham apapavidam, kavir manishi, paribhu swayampur, yata tatyato ratan vedadach, chashvatibhya samabhya. And such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, pure and uncontaminated, the self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desires since time immemorial. So this verse is an example of like Dravida Prabhu was saying, there's verses that kind of like talk about the philosophy and that you might use when explaining Krishna consciousness, and then there's also those sweet verses that just you might be talking about with the devotees, like the Madhuram Madhuram verse, what we were just talking about. Um, and actually, there's this, I want to share this one short purport from Srila Prabhupada on this point, because that verse, Sri Ishopanishad, Mantra 8, is saying that Krishna is beyond reproach. That's one of the words. He's beyond reproach, so beyond criticism. And Prabhupada, he has this really like purport that's amazing. It's a short purport where I'm like, drop the mic, Prabhupada. Like, that was awesome what you just said. Like, so it's actually in this canto, but chapter 2, 7-39. I can put that in the chat. So Prabhupada says, in this regard, the queens might argue, if our husband was protected. Oh yeah, okay. So this is Hiranyakashipu. He's talking about how well, I'll just read the quote and get to the essence. But these queens are saying, if our husband was protected by the supreme personality of Godhead when in the womb, they might argue this. Why has he not been given protection now? Because the king died. To this question, the answer is Ya icha yesha shujatidam avyayo ya eva rakshatyavalum chayaha. One cannot argue with the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is always free, and therefore he can protect and can also annihilate. He is not our order carrier. Whatever he likes, he will do. Therefore, he is the Supreme Lord. The Lord does not create this material world at anyone's request, and therefore he can annihilate everything merely by his will. That is his supremacy. That is his supremacy. If one argues, why does he act in this way? The answer is that he can do so because he is supreme. A few more sentences. No one can question his activities. If one argues, what is the purpose of this sinful creation and annihilation? The answer is that to prove his omnipotence, he can do anything, and no one can question him. If he were answerable to us concerning why he does something and why he does not, his supremacy would be curtailed. Like, okay, drop the mic, Srila Prabhupada. That was like really amazing, to the point. Like, his supremacy would be curtailed. So you can't argue with Krishna. You cannot argue with Krishna. He is not subject to our criticism. Yeah, very beautiful. Anyway, I'm gonna close here. Thank you, devotees, for tolerating me trying to speak on this verse and for being present here. I see that we are over time, so please, anyone who needs to go, please feel free to leave. I'll just see if there are any questions, comments, or corrections at this time. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for a wonderful, ecstatic class that, yeah, I feel like all of the disturbances in my mind are now completely almost gone. So thank you. What really stuck out to me, a lot stuck out to me, but I really appreciate you talking about Bhakti Tirtha Swami in his prayer or his meditation called, wrote it down, well done, my darling, well done. So I remember I had heard that, I never read it, but I heard it in a lecture. So I heard it in the form of a lecture that he did. And I just remember thinking to myself, oh man, if I could just hear this or see this or remember this every day, like that would be amazing, because it's just such a meditation. It's such an amazing meditation to really focus ourselves and be the driver in our Krishna consciousness. You know, obviously everything is be the driver, just be the driver in our Krishna consciousness, obviously not attached to the fruits, but not taking the back seat and saying, oh, you know, it'll come when it comes, but actively choosing with every word that we are speaking, with every thought that we're having, with every interaction that we're engaging in, everything that we're seeing, and just receiving through our senses, that we're actively utilizing the intelligence that has been fortified by Srila Prabhupada's books, by association with the devotees, to actively guide those senses. So I really appreciate that you brought that back up, because now I'm like, okay, I have to go through and like read that again and print it out, because yeah, I'm feeling very inspired to just like keep that consciousness and keep that remembrance. And yeah, I can say many more things, but this was just a wonderful class, and I really appreciate and inspired by your enthusiasm and your wisdom, and yeah, all of the many resources that you have shared with us in the links. I am saving all of them. So thank you.
Thank you for your inspiring reminder of that meditation, because bringing us back to that before we go on with our day. Thank you so much for your wisdom, for sharing that. Dear Bhava Prabha, Madhuri Kishore, you have your hand up. Let's hear from these great devotees.
Jana Vatsala, thank you, thank you, thank you. This was not just a class. This was a spiritual feast. This was like prasadam for my soul. It was amazing. And when you made references to bread, and I thought, yeah, because bread is satisfying and it's filling, right? And in a very sweet way. And that's what this class was. And all of these verses were. And I did the same thing. I'm copying and pasting to myself all of these verses and these lectures that you put in, because it was just like, you know how sometimes you go to like a Sunday and it's like overwhelming. Like you're like, I don't know, just put one thing where I can't even look at it. It's too much. It kind of felt like it's so wonderful. And I want to say also that you lifted my spirit, because a comment was made in class yesterday about Jesus and his teaching, and that it was a way of saying, like, give us this day our daily bread was a way of saying, fulfill our orders. And it wasn't. He said over and over again that the bread of life was God, and that people can't live just by food, like physical food, that they needed to live by every word that came out of God's mouth. And that is Shastra. Every word that comes out of Krishna's mouth is Shastra. And so what I was taught was to also make my prayers from the portion that I get of Shastra every day. And so today you gave so many things to lift in prayer, but just from what we read from the verses, the original verses alone, what I really got was just to say, thank you, Lord, because you've killed this great demon, whatever in Maya is holding me back. I'm in my normal condition, and please order me, your eternal servant, what to do right now. And I got that from the verse that you read from Bhakti Tirtha Swami also, that I want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. I want to hear, well done, my darling. And so through the day, please order my steps, Lord, because I am your eternal servant, and tell me what to do right now. I can remember Krishna. I can turn to Krishna. And so when I want to vilify, or I want to chitter chatter about nonsense, I can just keep saying, order my steps right now, God. So thank you so much, because you made this practical. And I feel like you didn't just give class today, like you gave preaching to the devotees, like you gave us the balm of Krishna, and you gave us so much to walk with today. So thank you, Jana. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Dear Madhuri Kishore, thank you so much. Happy belated birthday for 2 days ago. Thank you for sharing your heart and encouraging me to keep trying to be enthusiastic and Krishna conscious by all you guys' grace, and by Sakyaraj Prema Prabhu encouraging me to love verses, and then you guys all loving verses. And then I like your point, because when you were talking about Krishna giving us bread, or God giving us bread, the same thing, order carrier, and just like it just reminded me of being grateful for everything Krishna gives, because I was thinking about this, like he gives us everything, and it's not like we can even make anything. Everything we make is from all the atoms and what he's already made. So science can't really create anything new. They just have to use what he's already made. So he's given us all these building blocks, to make food, to make things. And I remember this gratitude food comment that Vaisheshika Prabhu wrote, and he was talking about being grateful all the way down, to like who grew the food, and who prepared the food, who grew the food, where they got the seeds, like all that. And obviously originally everything, all those building blocks or matters came from Krishna, and the seed-giving father, the entities, and all the things that are created. But I don't know. You spoke everything really nicely. I kind of got lost, but in trying to respond. But I just liked what you shared. Thank you. Sorry, thank you. Devaki Pretty, and I'm gonna post the link to the Power of Writing and the Madhuram verse. If you Pretty, you have your hand up.
Oh yeah, just like what's already been said. Yeah, you gifted us with so much today. I feel like it was like, yeah, using the word class, I don't really feel like that is like what it is. I feel like it was like there's like class in there, meditation, seminar, deep dive into deep deep dive not only into Shastra, but also like how we can in our lives be able to actually apply what we're hearing in Shastra. So you didn't just tell us like, oh yeah, remember, we want to remember Krishna. Oh, this is how we can remember Krishna. So it's not just the principle of remembering Krishna, but what we can do to remember Krishna. And when when we're given in that way, then we can like immediately after the class, like immediately try to apply something because it's like we've been given also the ways that we can apply it. So it doesn't just remain like a theory, like, oh yeah, I want to remember Krishna more. Oh, I wish I could remember Krishna more. Oh, and then we just feel bad that we don't remember Krishna. It's like, no, here's some ways that we can remember Krishna. Here, it's been given to us. So yeah, I feel like there's not really like adequate words to express, but I'm just very grateful. I loved hearing what Baba Prabhu and Leela Kishore Prabhu were sharing, and I agree with their sentiments as well. And I found a few quotes that I hope devotees don't mind if I share. I found some quotes on remembrance and gratitude. I found a lot, but I'm not going to read all of them because there's probably like 20 quotes. So I'll just read a couple.
Put some in the chat.
Yeah, maybe I can put some in the chat because I can read all of them. I feel like it's a little much. But I wanted to share a few of them. So some on remembrance, that's something you were talking about a lot in this class. I'm just scrolling. I just put some into like a little note thing for myself so I could grab them. So I found this quote that I had read from David Swami's book, Bhakti Bhav, The Emotional Dynamics of a Devotee, Chapter 4. And I just kind of thought about it in terms of remembrance and also like how we can utilize our senses in remembering Krishna, because he says, remember also our discussion about staring at the deity. Krishna is the only person you can stare at who won't react nervously. I want you all to practice this. Present yourself before the deities in the temple and just stare. Forget worries about time limits. So there's another quote that's like in this where he kind of goes more into this, but I always love that because it's like we're utilizing our natural ability to want to like, because it's natural. We do like looking like at people but we can go and take darshan. Krishna wants us to do that. So we can just and Mars just like reminds us that we can, yeah, just he says something else in the other quote, like, yeah, put in your schedule, like when are you gonna go do that? Like kind of I'm paraphrasing. But I loved that. And that's a way we can remember Krishna. And even if we can't directly go have darshan, we can also, of course, remember Krishna in our mind, of course. I like this quote from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 9, verses 1 through 2. It's an excerpt from Srila Prabhupada's. I think this is Srila Prabhupada's purpose because I think it's still the part that he was giving us purpose for. While churning the butter, Mother Yashoda was singing about the childhood activities of Krishna. It was formerly a custom that if one, and this is exactly, I was so happy to find this because it exactly fits like what you were talking about in the class. While cheering the brother, Mother Yashoda was singing about the childhood activities of Krishna. It was formerly a custom that if one wanted to remember something constantly, he would transform it into poetry or have this done by a professional poet. It appears that Mother Yashoda did not want to forget Krishna's activities at any time. Therefore, she poetized all of Krishna's childhood activities, such as the killing of Putana, Aghasura, Saktasura, and Trinavarta. And while turning the brother, she sang about these activities in poetical form. This should be the practice of persons eager to remain Krishna conscious 24 hours a day. This incident shows how Krishna conscious Mother Yashoda was. To stay in Krishna consciousness, we should follow such persons. So you and your class gave us quite a few different sharing about devotees and how we can remember Krishna through verses. And then we have Kalakanta Prabhu where he has the bhajan and then the English translation at the same time. So like while we're saying it, we can remember what we're saying. So I really liked that one. And this is another one about remembrance from Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita, from the introduction. The Lord therefore tells Arjuna that he need not give up his occupation, but while he is engaged in his occupation, he should remember Krishna. Mam Anusmara. If he doesn't practice remembering Krishna while he is struggling for existence, then it will not be possible for him to remember Krishna at the time of death. Lord Chaitanya also advises this. He says, Kirtaniya Sadahari, one should practice chanting the names of the Lord always. The names of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. So Lord Krishna's instructions to Arjuna to remember me and Lord Chaitanya's instruction to always chant the names of Lord Krishna are the same instruction. There is no difference because Krishna and Krishna's name are non-different. In the absolute status, there is no difference between reference and referent. Therefore, we have to practice remembering the Lord always 24 hours a day by chanting his names and molding our lives, activities in such a way that we can remember him always. So I love how Srila Prabhupada there helps us see that remembering Krishna and chanting names of Lord Krishna, that's the same instruction. Prabhupada's saying that directly here. I love how Prabhupada explained how if we don't practice remembering Krishna well, like now we're struggling for existence, and how we can remember Krishna and we have our final exam at the time of death. So this is so important for us to be practicing this now. Another quote from Bhagavad Gita, as it is, 1877, translation, O King, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. I think, so just that part there, just like how much joy can come from remembering Krishna, how much we can be joyful about remembering the Lord. And then a few quotes on gratitude. This is from The Beggar for Die Before Dying by Bhakti Maharaj, Meditation 5, which this one is on gratitude. Having gratitude for the present by having more appreciation of the past. This is just an excerpt from it. Life is full of meaning and opportunities for growth. When we are mindful of the beauty and accomplishments of the past, even when the present or future is not exactly what we want, what we would like it to be, we will not be disturbed. We will still be excited about the past and appreciative for the present. In this way, the future will be even more auspicious because we create our futures by how we have dealt with the past and how we are dealing with the present. Being always reflective, mindful, and grateful allows us to never forget how much the Supreme Lord is sending his love in different ways. And you mentioned all three of those today, being reflectful, being mindful, and being grateful. That's exactly what Bhakti Maharaj is saying here. Here's another one from the same book, Die Before Dying, Meditation 1, died on August 5th. We must remind ourselves that the Lord is always finding ways to send out his love. As we remind ourselves of this, it becomes easier to take advantage of the many opportunities that manifest. Life is full of adventures and opportunities to serve humanity and glorify the Lord. When a person can accept everything as an expression of Krishna's mercy and love, nothing can be too disturbing. Every moment becomes another opportunity to serve humanity, worship the Supreme, and express gratitude. I'll read I think maybe two more. This is a short one. I really like from his Surrender book, Surrender the Key to Eternal Life, by Chapter 3, section Gratitude Increases Compassion. Gratitude for what we have helps us to take less for granted. And I'm going to share, I think this is the last one I'm going to share here. This is from Spiritual Warrior 4 by Bhakti Maharaj, Chapter 7. When we have a failure or make a mistake, we need to understand the difference between temporarily failing and viewing ourselves as failures. We do not have to take a mistake or a failure so seriously. Actually, the problem escalates when we allow the failure to encompass our whole existence. The failure will threaten our well-being when we begin to accept that setback as our identity. However, we should laugh at that thought, because how can entities who eternally love and associate with the Supreme Lord be failures? If we can acknowledge our permanent identity as healthy, knowledgeable, blissful, and full of love, we can laugh at the insignificant moments in our existence in which we forget that reality. We might have failed in some area, but we are not failures. Even Thomas Edison made over 1,000 mistakes in his attempt to invent the light bulb, but each time he saw his chance to come closer to the conclusion. Each time he saw his opportunity to try a new experiment after ruling out the last possibility. Especially when we endeavor to increase our faith and direct our consciousness to the spiritual realm, we can always step back from time to time and just feel gratitude and happiness as we acknowledge the Lord's constant presence. So there's like more quotes. I'll end with this one, this gratitude one. Spiritual Warrior 4 by Bhakti March, chapter 5, section Healthy Ways to Cope with Depression, and this subsection is Gratitude as a Way of Life. If we can just develop this consciousness and constantly thank the Supreme in any situation, we will be able to learn and grow from any circumstance. We will make the auspicious situations more auspicious, and we will turn any inauspicious situations into auspicious ones. It will become a learning experience. And as we honor it with gratitude, Krishna will naturally make arrangements for us. So I was just like appreciating that, like we're just so blessed that we have this process. We're so fortunate, and we can share that good fortune with others. And through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada coming to the West and bringing Srimad Bhagavatam, bringing the holy names, we have access to have so many ways that we can remember Krishna and try to utilize our lives in a way that will be pleasing to him, pleasing to our spiritual masters, pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya. And yeah, so I was just like appreciating that, like, if we can just, we have so many experiences in life. There's so many things in the material world that constantly can cause us to stress. Our mind is constantly, I just noticed that yesterday, where it's like your mind will find, even when there's like so many things that are so auspicious and beautiful happening, I'll just look for the one thing and like try to magnify, like, no, look at that. Why don't you just be miserable about that? Like, it just, like, that's actually what the mind is. It just tries to find it and just like, oh, look, let's just dwell on this. It's just like, wait, why am I dwelling on this? Like, there's so much to be grateful for. It's like you have to like catch your mind and like pull back and be like, wait, I'm actually like perpetually like putting misery on myself. Like, I don't need to do this. But we have so many ways that we can, like, so many things we can like, healthy ways that we can take shelter, right? Because of course we always will try to take shelter. We'll always try to find ways to cope, because we're eternally blissful and happy, and we don't want that. So we're always like we always just want to be happy, right? So we have so many wonderful healthy shelters, though, because there are unhealthy shelters, but we have many, very many healthy shelters that are actually feeding our soul, that we can connect to. Whether, if we love verses, we can read a verse. If we love the holy names, we can like chant Hare Krishna. We love hearing the pastimes, we can pick up Krishna book or Bhagavatam. If associating with devotees helps, we can call up our dear ones on the phone, talk to them, or go to the temple if we love having darshan. Like, there's so many things that we can do. We just have to like take that pause before the mind starts taking us like all the way down this thing. We can just, and Krishna's waiting, right? That's a beautiful thing. Krishna's just waiting, like, for us to turn to him. I saw this thing on someone's WhatsApp story the other day where they were chanting and they like put down their beads, like, oh, I don't want to chant right now. And then it showed like a picture of Krishna just sitting at the table. Like, there's one chair and then there's like the other empty chair, and he's just sitting there, just like waiting. And like, Krishna is just waiting for us, just to turn to him. And he's always there, but that's why we're so blessed that we have this process, and we have others that remind us that like Krishna's right there. And like in the material world, it's very easy to think like, when bad things happen, we can think like, oh, why is Krishna punishing me? Why is, like we sometimes you can have that negative mentality. But whenever we can, whether it's we remember or Krishna can help us remember, or through another devotee, he can help us remember, then we can remember, no, Krishna's actually my ever well wisher. So even if I don't understand, which maybe we don't understand, maybe we'll never understand, but we know that ultimately everything that Krishna is doing is coming from his love for us. And just because we don't understand how the love is coming doesn't mean that it's not Krishna's love for us. Sometimes when someone loves us, even they may do things out of love. We don't understand that, but it's still coming. And Krishna, of course, he's the one that loves us the most. Radha Swami talks about that, how, we've turned our backs on Krishna for so long, all of these things. And Krishna's the only person that he still loves us so much. He's never like, oh, okay, I can't deal with you. You've turned your back on me for like millions of lifetimes. He's not like that. He still loves us so much and he wants us to come home, and he's so grateful for just like every little thing that we do, that we're trying, that we remember him, that we're trying to be devotees, even if we fail continuously, we just still try. Like, so what better person to develop our love for and serve than Krishna? There's no one better. But anyway, I've talked a long time, so I should wind down. I just got really excited. But thank you so much for your class, Jana, and yeah, just helping us remember how fortunate we are and how we can always remember Krishna through many ways and be grateful. Can always be grateful. So anyway, sorry to voice, like I went a little long. I got a bit excited, but I will stop. Hi, Krishna.
Devaki, Miss Enthusiasm, Miss Gratitude, thank you for always sharing your gratitude with us. You're like a walking gratitude, and then you have all these gratitude quotes, and you reminded me of so many beautiful things I wanted to share, and I'm happy Madhu Kishori and all the devotees are still here. I know feel free to go if you want, but every time I check that we're all here, I'm like, this is so inspiring. But Leela Kishori Mataji, I feel um like I wasn't fully able to process like all what you shared from your heart about like what you heard about like an order supplier and your view on it. Um, but I'm like I wanted to connect with you on that because it reminds me of some things that I had been thinking about. So I put in the chat for you I was actually going to mention this verse today, Bhagavad Gita 6:6, because I'm obsessed with the purport. And it talks about following the dictation of the Supreme, following the dictation of Krishna rather than avarice, lust, and greed. So following his orders. And I like that you mentioned that because I liked that part of today's translation as well, where the Mondays are saying, kindly order us, your eternal servants, what to do now. They're saying, Karavama te kim anushadi kinkaran. We could even remember that little part of the verse. Kinkaran, it was really cool. It meant your internal servants or something. I was like, that's so cool. So I was thinking about what you're saying, like, I told somebody this, but maybe I said it on one of these classes, but when I came back from India, last fall, I remember like I started like getting a lot into Vandanam and prayer and like praying for other devotees and just turning to Krishna to help me. And I remember I was starting to feel like, okay, well, like am I asking for like, like material desires, because like some of the stuff was like praying like, okay, please help me have confidence at work, please help me, get up. I mean, get up, like that's not material. I mean, because it's like what I talked about in that other class where there's like functional things and then there's material desires and then there's like, because like some things are just functional, like you need to like get up and go to work or whatever and you need to get up and help do your sadhana and stuff, but I felt like these little things were like I was asking him for so many little things. It was like, is this material desires? But I was talking to my mom about it and like some of it is just functional. Like to exist in the material world you need to have a certain state of mental stability, and then you're asking Krishna for help with some of those things, like please like calm my mind down, um for example, for me, like I need to be confident at work. It messes up my state of being when I'm not. So like I can not be distracted by that and be more focused on Krishna whenever I'm not at work. And rather than like dwelling on so many things. Anyway, I didn't mean to give that example. I hope it's coming across right. David, can nod if it makes sense, but because I can see your face. Um, but I remember like thinking about trying to like deal with this is like, okay, yeah, like we are like babies, like calling out, he says cry, Prabhupada says cry like you're crying for the baby crying for the mom when you're chanting Krishna, Hare Krishna, and like I'm a baby, like we just need Krishna, we need our father. Like of course we're gonna ask him for every little thing, and we just, cry out for him. And he says even like 2, 3, 10, like Sakama devotees, like and of all the different type of devotees, you have all desires, no desires, or desire liberation. Like you're supposed to go to him for everything, and we're always going to be going to something for shelter. Like for example, like, and I'm not saying that you have like you were going to him for material desires because I didn't fully follow like what you were expressing from your heart. That because I don't want to like missay what you, but I'm saying for me, I was struggling with that, um, and just like he, just that we go to him like for everything. And I was talking to Dave Key the other day and I was talking about taking shelter of things, and she was just encouraging me like you could have like taken shelter of like food, but you took shelter of Bhagavatam, which um definitely addicted to candy. Shelter of candy is some of my go-tos, but it's nice when you get the chance to like take shelter of Bhagavatam. Like I was telling Baba the other day that like I was really distressed the other night and I was like just very yeah, very distressed. And but then I had some Bhagavatam reading I wanted to finish before bed, so I started reading that. And then I got the association of a devotee, my sister, and it was like it's very interesting because like then I just went to sleep peacefully and I woke up and I was fine the next morning. Or I don't know if I went to sleep peacefully, but I woke up and I was like, okay, like I wasn't trying to necessarily take shelter of Bhagavatam, but just I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do my reading for the day and like finish it. And then like it's amazing how like that effect of like connecting with the Bhagavatam, connecting with um Krishna. Oh God, I'm happy Mother Lady Kishore has her hand raised again. Yeah, the fact of like connecting with the Bhagavatam and having that be your shelter. There is a verse I said I told I wanted to read. Um it's it's quoted at the beginning of what's his name? Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's Bhagavat Subodhini, like the summary helping you learn Bhagavatam. And it's from Krishna Lila Stava 415, Sanatan Goswami, and it praises the Bhagavatam. Mud Eka Bando, Mat Sangin, Mud Guru, Man Mahadana. They're saying Bhagavatam's my only friend. Mud Eka Bando, Eka, one, only. Mud Eka Bando, my only friend. Mat Sangin, oh my companion, Sangha. Mud Guru, oh my teacher. Man Mahadana, oh my great wealth. Mud Nistaraka, oh my deliverer. Mud Bhagya, oh my good fortune. Mud Ananda, bliss, right? Oh my bliss. Mud Ananda. Namostate, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. It's like, Mud Ekabando, Mud Sangin, Mud Guru, Mud Mahadana, Mud Nistaraka, Mud Bhagya, Mud Ananda, Namostute. So Bhagavatam is our shelter, and it doesn't mean like, oh, we only need oh, I can just, just get shelter of Bhagavatam and I don't need devotees. Like, no, we need the book Bhagavat, we need the person Bhagavat. And but like it's your shelter, like you can just go to the Bhagavatam. And like JV was saying, it's like so easy to do fault finding. I remember we were speaking in another class, like this devotee who was about to lead kirtan at Radhadesh Mellows. It was either this year or another year. He was saying how like the mind is focused on so many things, and it'd be like, okay, like you're trying to be in the kirtan, but like, oh, that devotee, you come back and like that devotee just took my pillow that I was sitting on. And like like the mind is focused on so many little things. It's like, how about not fault finding and you just like focus on the name? So one time I was at Bhakti Yoga Center and Ani Ruda, Anavalasparu's son, helped us kind of focus on this, like chant with the mood to be like glad you're here, or like he was saying like something about because he opened the session at the Bhakti Yoga Center and he was talking about being like grateful that you're glad to be here. So then whenever I led after him, I was like, yeah, I want to do that. Like chant with the mood that I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be chanting. And then it like took away like some of like the anxiety from chanting, anxiety from leading, and like anxiety from trying to offer a service, but just like actually I'm really grateful to be here. I'm glad to be here. And that changed like the enthusiasm in the mood of chanting. So I was really inspired by that. So it's like Anandini says, she once said like she appreciates like the chance to lead a kirtan because like you're actually coming with like this responsibility to help people be able to delve deeper into the kirtan. So you're also trying to like make yourself go deeper and get that opportunity to offer something nicely and help everyone, go deeper in the kirtan. So um just like yeah, like Devaki said, we're Anandamaya Vyasat, we're always looking for pleasure, and we also, Krishna Bahirmukha, we've turned away from him, but Krishna, I think I got some point from her, like, Krishna is the best one to serve, Hiranyakashipu, he was Godasa, he was serving his senses, and there was this amazing, this amazing verse, 7:419 from this chapter, from this canto, where it's like, it's so powerful what he says, because it's like, yeah, it's like, okay, that's so accurate. It was like, in spite of achieving the power to control in all directions, and in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied because instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. So this verse is saying he achieved power to control in all directions. He was enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible. But he was still dissatisfied, okay? Because instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. It's like, oh. Like, wow. Anyway. Um, Mother Kishore, please share something.
Hare Krishna, Jana. Thank you so much. This is just, it's amazing, this class. And thank you for what you put in the chat. Yes, and what I'm just reading the last line of the purport. Real yoga from Bhagavad Gita 6:6. Real yoga practice entails meeting the Paramatma within the heart and then following his dictation. From one who takes to Krishna consciousness directly, perfect surrender to the dictation of the Lord follows automatically. And what I was saying when I was sharing was that when Jesus said in his prayer, when he said, was teaching people to pray, give us this day our daily bread, he wasn't talking about those rolls that you pull, and you eat with your mouth. He was talking about the word of God. He was talking about Sastra. And he was saying that we have a daily portion given to us. And this is what we have to live by. This is what feeds us for the day. So what I was saying is that part of my practice from Srimad Bhagavatam class is to view whatever verse has been given, whatever purport, as part of my portion for the day, is what I'm going to eat all day long. And so I make that into prayer. So for example, from what I just read, today part of what I will continue to pray is, Lord, help me to take to Krishna consciousness directly and to surrender and to follow your dictation to the best of my ability. And when I falter, guide my steps. So that's what I meant by he wasn't saying God's here to fill your orders. He was saying God's here to fill you, and go to him and ask for that every day and all day long. So Hare Krishna, I hope that's a little bit more clear about what I was talking about. Haribol, and thank you again for this amazing, amazing feast.
That is very clear. Thank you for saying that. So he's not saying, we're not saying fulfill my orders, but fill me up. Is that how you could word it?
I
Yes.
think that's exactly what
Yes.
she
Yes.
said.
So we're
Yeah.
not saying, and there's so many beautiful verses like about like, drinking the Bhagavatam or like, like 113, it's like so relishable to the Bhagavatam. So I like this idea that you were saying. He's like, get the portion, get that that scripture today, and then that's what you're going to choose to focus on throughout the day. Because when we were learning shloka verses, sometimes you would say like, okay, learn your verse, and then like throughout the day kind of be meditating on that, okay, and like being conscious of that. um anyway, what you said is very nice. And I forgot what else I was going to say. Yeah, that purport, that's what I was going to say. That purport is so good. 6:6, I encourage everyone to memorize the purport. I did in the past, but I forgot of it. So, like, you guys inspire me and let's memorize that purport. Like, following the exact dictation of the Supreme or whatever, it's such a nice wording. I remember somebody said, my showmanship teacher, Sakiras Prema Prabhu, he said that people would, um, I think it was Mother Shamarani / Jadharani, that artist in our movement, and he said she would memorize purports, or he said when she was giving classes, it was like she was just reciting purports. David Kifriti, you have your hand up? Yeah, actually, one second. I think he said she's one of the most impressive class givers that he knows. And actually, Malika Shore, the other one thing I was gonna say is that like I liked what your prayers. I think I'm gonna come back to this part, or if you don't mind putting in the chat, like that wording you use of what you were gonna pray for the day, like order me in this way or whatever words you said, it was very nice. So if you could put that in the chat, because it made me think of this we heard at Bhakti Tirtha Swami's recent Vyasa Puja that he said the most important prayer is oh my Lord, let your will be mine. I have it written down somewhere if I can get it exactly right, but yeah. Deviki?
Did he say thy will be done, or is not that one?
It's be mine
That's
is
a
part of
different
it.
one.
That
Oh, be
yeah,
mine. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
My mom wrote it down exactly, and I also have it written somewhere, but yeah. I think it's oh
Just
my
I
Lord will be mine.
like that fill me up part thing that Malika Kishore was saying, and I really liked the prayer, and I like that we're talking about prayer today, because that's really like prayer helps us really be intentional about like what we're trying to cultivate, what we want our consciousness to, where we want our consciousness to be, even if it's not there in that moment, and like you were saying, like also connecting with gratitude, like with prayer, then we can more see how Krishna is reciprocating with us by our prayers, which doesn't necessarily mean that what we're praying automatically comes true, like you were saying, but we when we pray and we see how things unfold, like, we can see like, oh, that was Krishna's mercy, how that was arranged. And sometimes I feel like without prayer, then like if we're not intentionally praying, then we can miss like seeing these things that Krishna is arranging. We might not be able to, we might miss it, even though it's like he's always doing that, he's always arranging things, he's always helping us in so many ways. Guru Krishna, devotees, Guru Sadhu Shastra. Yeah. And something else I was thinking that I've been thinking about lately is like I've heard like a few devotees say that about like how like your perception of something creates your experience of it. And I've heard Ron Swami say it too, like how you interpret something that creates your experience of it. And so like, we can be self-reflective and see that sometimes like things might happen and we might just put like a story of what we think it means. And then our whole perception, our whole way of thinking about that becomes colored by that. And it might not actually even be what actually is actually happening. And that's why it's interesting too, because you could have more than one person have to be in the same place, right? Maybe having a similar experience, but because everyone is individual and different, and also the way that we think, the way that we perceive is different, it can still be a different experience, even though like they're having a similar experience. It won't be like exactly the same because the way that they're perceiving it, based on their own experiences. I don't know. It's just really interesting how like just how important our consciousness is, because like where our consciousness is at really affects like how we experience things. Where our consciousness is or where it is not, it really affects how we experience things. And wow, yeah, so I've been thinking about that lately and trying to like notice, like just kind of try to be more reflective, like self-reflective, and like kind of notice that more, like seeing what the mind's doing. And then you can also then help bring if you see that, you can help bring your consciousness back. Like Troy was talking about prayer, and prayer is a wonderful way of like helping to bring your consciousness back, even if it's not currently like in the space you want it to be. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Davy, because the more you share, I feel like we're going deeper into what we go through on the daily with the mind and how you're trying to, I don't know, work with that and reflect, and it's really inspiring for me. And every time you talk, I remember that there's this gratitude quote that I must share, but I keep forgetting to share it. And Bhakti Tirtha Swami is talking about how you thank him for no matter what situation you have, whether it's sickness, whether it's health. It's the best paragraph ever. I always want to remember, and I love going back to it. So he says this: when we do not generally say thank you in our lives, this ungrateful attitude will interfere with our spiritual growth. Sometimes we simply must come to such a level of gratitude that we can just say, "Thank you, Lord, for allowing me to be sick and giving me this opportunity to read more. Thank you for this opportunity to be more introspective. Thank you for giving me this chance to appreciate health and use it more efficiently when I have it." When someone criticizes us, we can thank them for helping us look closer at ourselves. When someone praises us, we can thank the Lord for showing us our big egos and thank Him for seeing that it needs to be deflated. When we face dishonor, we can thank the Lord for keeping us humble and preventing us from relying entirely on our own abilities. We want to have gratitude towards the Lord, towards His representatives, and towards everyone in our environment. We can even feel great. Okay, this is actually not the quote that I thought it was, but some of it was part of what the other quote says. Like, in sickness you thank Him, in health you thank Him. My mom has this nice quote, but it also talks about, like, there's one where it's like, thanks for giving me fame because like I need my ego up, but like whatever you kind of need, but Krishna, he helps you deal with it. Yeah.
I think I might
Sorry.
have it. Can I share it? I think I might have the one you're talking about.
Please, because it's
Okay.
please.
I might have it. If it's not, sorry, but this is one that's also okay. Okay. So this is from okay. Maybe it's also from Spiritual Warrior 4. But anyway, I can find the direct quote. But sometimes I'll start from where I have it and then I'll get into the part you're saying. Sometimes our mental challenges become very stagnant because we do not move through them and we do not appreciate the past. The more we have gratitude, the more we create auspicious in the future. Sometimes the Supreme Personality of God gives to us and sometimes He takes away. As devotees, we want to have such a grateful mindset that when God gives us wealth, we say thank you. When God takes it away and puts us under state of impoverishment, we thank Him for protecting us from false pride. We thank Him for any situation that allows us to keep a simple life. When God gives us good health, we can say, thank you, and this is in quotes, thank you, Lord, for your kindness, because you know how much I hate pain. You have given me such a nice, healthy body so that I can serve you, because you know that if I have too much pain, I will simply blaspheme. If God gives us sickness or pain, then we say, thank you, Lord, for putting me in this state so that I can be more contemplative. It will help me appreciate good health and give me a chance to slow down so that I can read more. If God makes us famous, we can say, thank you, Lord, because you know how much I need my ego stimulated. Thank you for helping me so that I can be a good devotee in the midst of all this fame. When God makes us infamous, we can still say, thank you, Lord, for making me very humble. You have put me into a situation so that I will not think of myself as a proprietor or controller. So I think what I did is I read the end of this quote, which is here, where it says, if we can just develop this consciousness and constantly thank the Supreme in any situation, we will be able to learn and grow from any circumstance. We will make the auspicious situations more auspicious, and we will turn any inauspicious situations into auspicious ones. It will become a learning experience, and as we honor it with gratitude, Krishna will naturally make arrangements for us. Spiritual Warrior 4, Chapter 5, section Healthy Ways to Cope with Depression, subsection Gratitude as a Way of Life. So I think I read the end of it. I didn't read that part, but that's all
My
one
gosh.
quote.
Please put that main part in the chat. Thank you. Krishna just let you find that. Sarvasya Chahamriti Sunny Vista Vata Smriti Jnana. Thank you for giving Devaki Priti remembrance for that. And I'm going to summarize that in one sentence from where I just read from Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Thank you for helping me to understand that every situation is an opportunity to serve and glorify the Lord.
Wow. I'm putting the quote in parts because otherwise I'm not going to be able to fit it all. Zoom won't let me put it all. There's too many words, so I have to just put it in parts.
Mom, Also, what about that quote? Bhaktivedanta Swami has a quote. You have it up somewhere. It says, Krishna is giving us the aggregate, fulfilling the aggregate of our desires. So it's like, and it made me think about like how, it might not look like he's fulfilling my desire, but he's fulfilling the aggregate of my desires. Can you talk on that point if you're available and have that quote? And also, if you have the written down of "Thy will be mine" quote. But yeah.
Jai Hare Krishna. I think you summarized that beautifully. Thank you.
I wonder which quote you're talking about, John. I don't know
It's just
which
like one sentence. She could probably put it in the chat. She has
the
like,
one
it's
that
just
you
like,
couldn't, the one you couldn't find earlier,
oh
or that
no,
you talked
she
about
has a quote
earlier.
that's like, she has a quote that's like, Krishna is fulfilling the aggregate of our desires. It says something like that from Bhakti Tirtha Swami. But she also somewhere had the quote of
Oh,
what the prayer is. It's like, oh my Lord, let your will be mine or something. I have to find it, but yeah.
okay.
Okay, I'm gonna take this opportunity right now to copy a bunch of the chat before it goes away. There's a lot there.
I also saw the quote, Jonna, that you had shared too, where he was talking about the Bhagavad Gita verses that you were talking about in your class. I really like that part about the taste of water, where he's like talking about like that.
All right, Krishna, I just want to take a moment to glorify Chintamani Devi Dasi for raising such beautiful Krishna conscious daughters. And Krishna reciprocates by giving you to us in these classes and giving all his remembrances and verses through you two girls and so much joy. So, Chintamani, thank you, thank you, thank you for raising such beautiful Krishna conscious children.
Leela Kishori Devi Dasi, I will receive your gratitude on behalf of my spiritual master and the community that has really contributed to these beautiful children that we all get the benefit, adults now, but that we all get the benefit of benefiting from. Um, um, yeah, I'm just very grateful to have their association and to have all of your association. Um, and as a mom, I'm sitting here, I'm like, this is beautiful sharing, like beautiful Krishna Katha, but I'm concerned about the time in terms of the devotees. Um, so on the behalf of the assembly, as uh, um, Yashodev Prabhu said, I will suggest maybe Jana Vatsala for you to maybe check with the devotees and see if there's anything else they'd like to share and perhaps close up. But this has just been a beautiful, beautiful sharing. And I just do feel really grateful to have the opportunity, Jana Vatsala and David Kipriti, to have your association in this lifetime. And again, just very grateful for this wonderful community that feeds us all, and for our spiritual masters, and for like Srila Prabhupada. We're just so blessed. And I wrote down your quotes, Leela Kishori, that you said today, and I'm gonna make that prayer, keep that prayer in my consciousness. So thank you for your contribution, everyone's contribution. Jai Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom.
Bye.
Yes, thank you, Mom, for closing us out. Thank you,
Thank you
Melody
for what you.
Kishori.
Thank you for what you.
Thank you, Yashadev. Thank you,
for your
Tarek
kind
Prabhu. Thank
words.
you, Bhavan Prabha. Thank you,
And
Melisha
thank you everyone for
Devi.
being here and sharing.
Thank
This
you,
has been so
everyone.
enlivening. Thank you, everyone.
Also, can I say we can't forget Mother Yashoda Devi, who's one of the overarching moms of the community, Yashodev Das, who's my son and their brother, and who's just a guide for so many people, Baba Prabha, whose heart is beautiful and loves Krishna consciousness, and our esteemed Father Uncle Targa Prabhu, who benedicts all of us and is just graciously giving his presence and continues to guide us all. So we're just blessed in this whole community and Jill Papad's family. And I just thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Jai.
Vanchakopatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Have a Krishna conscious day, dear devotees.
John, when you get off, is it gonna lose the chat? I'm just trying to save it a little bit.
I won't end the meeting so you can get it.
I just have 1
Hare
second.
Krishna. Everybody have
Hare
a good day.
Krishna.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Krishna. So nice to see you, Baba Prabha. Thank you for your wisdom.
Nice to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Hi, Krishna.
Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Sham, Jai Jai Shri Kirtanagari Dham. Jai Jai Radha Damodar, Jai Jai Shri Kirtanagari Dham. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Sham, Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Nita, Jai Jai Gaur, Jai Jai Shri Dhamayapur.
Dr. Tithmarj liked to sing that. He sang that in his last days, the Jai thingy, Vrindavan Dham one.
Figured just sing it while you're still doing the chat to pass the time.
Thank you, Uncle Tarka. Thank you for your never-ending nectar stream.
Exactly.
There's a little book by Ravana Swami that has quotes, like that his disciples put together a quote, and it's called Nectar Stream. But Uncle Tarka also, he gives us a nectar stream.
Yes, he does. You know, Tarika Prabhu, when I hear you in class and things you say, I write it and I put it on my wall in my room and in my office. So I have your quotes that guide me. And thank you for this theme of feeding and bread. Thank you for giving the bread to the community so all of us can know that's the greatest meal. Thank you.
Yes, in last glorification as we end, I remember one time when I was on for Bhagavatam class and somehow there wasn't anyone to give the class, and Uncle Tarka just stepped up and he's like, well, the Krishna Katha must continue. And he just gave the class like spontaneously on the spot. I was like so amazed, like at his deep service attitude and making sure, like service attitude and service mood and wanting to service with always to make sure that there's always Bhagavatam class. So if something comes up and someone can't give, then he'll make himself available like he did in that situation. Jai. We love you, Uncle Target, and we appreciate you so much. Even if we don't always get to say it, do know how much you're treasured in our Gita family community. Thank you, all devotees.
Yes, agreed, Uncle Targa, because I think I remember that time. Whenever you step in, I think I was on the farm by the cows, and I remember you taking over the class, but yeah. But maybe it's more than one time that you made sure it happened. Deviki, are you still doing the chat?
I'm finished. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. I was trying to find that Radhanath Swami lecture link. But yeah. Hari Hari.
Hari Hari.
Vipale Janma. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. I'll go when you go, Jonna.
Okay. I'll go when
Okay.
Target Fruit goes.
Still there. I love that
All
picture
we,
too that he
all
has
we need
there
is a picture of
with
Radha
him
Damodar with
with him with
darshan.
the cows. That's
Mhm.
him with the cows, right? I love that. Hmm.
Well, Target Fruit, we have to give you some
He
Radha
just said,
Damodar darshan because you're used to being able to see it after the temple program. So there's Radha
oh,
Damodar.
so fast. Yeah, go, because he said he has to go. Oh, Jai.
Great. There you go.
Hi, Boo. Thanks for the darshan. Okay, I'll go. Much appreciation to Hare Krishna.